Hey everybody, Matthew here. Hope you're all doing great. I got a bonus video for you. This week we're talking about a little bit of British television of the 1970s and a whole lot of American gay television of the 1970s. So a lot of folks have been sending me fantastic clips of gay British stuff and international stuff as well that I asked for in my the recommendations feedback video last week. And I love it. It's great. Keep sending me more. And something that has come up a couple of times now is Mr. Humphreys from Are You Being Served? If you're not familiar, here's the vibe.
We're all to be replaced en masse.
Well, miserable old devil.
My horoscope said I was going to get a new position. But I interpreted it quite differently.
That's actor John Inman playing Mr. Humphreys, the pretty obviously gay sales associate of the department store. And he was not, as far as I know, queer in real life, and it was actually kind of annoying to him that everybody associated with him with this role after it, he became famous for it. But oh well, worse problems to have than getting famous for something. Anyway, there's Mr. Humphreys on Are You Being Served? At some point, I will probably do a video about that show. It's not in the cards to happen soon, but don't worry, it's on my list. It was also adapted, Are You Being Served was adapted for a US version that I don't think ever went to series, but they made a pilot, and here's how he was adapted by Alan Sues.
Well, I just hope they don't know we're late.
You're late, Mr. Humphrey.
I'm sorry, but I had to stop by and pick up Mr. Humphreys.
Yes. I've never ridden on a motorcycle before. It's wild, isn't it? I just held on tight and screamed my head off.
Now, Alan Sues, a gay comedian actor, was actually gay. He was pretty closeted, never really talked publicly about it. You know, he's from a generation where most people didn't, so I can't really hold that against him. But what I will say, and this is something that has always kind of bothered me, is the Mr. Humphreys character, both on the UK Are You Being Served in the US, it is really hard for me to say if I like this character or not, because most of the time he does seem to be the butt of the joke. On the other hand, sometimes I actually think even the Alan Sues character, I think he actually gets a good joke. Like, I think this joke here is actually pretty funny.
It's obvious she likes you. She's just waiting for a little eye contact.
Eye contact?
Like this.
Well, there goes my ride home.
Alan, in particular, did a lot of pansy characters, especially on Laugh-In. He had a character called Big Al, and the whole joke was that he was a athlete or sports commentator who was pretty flamboyant.
Big Al here. Oh, I love that. Man.
And I gotta say, I do find these characters, sorry to say, kind of tiresome most of the time. And so I grapple with, like, is this good representation? I mean, obviously it's not very good, but is it good? You know, it's kind of testing that Harvey Fierstein adage from Celluloid Closet, where he says, representation at any cost.
I like the sissy. Is it used in negative ways? Yeah, but my view has always been visibility at any cost. I'd rather have negative than nothing.
And I do generally feel something's better than nothing, but boy, I don't know. This one's really, the Alan Sues characters, especially on Laugh-In, really test me. I will say, here's my hot take about Laugh-In. I don't think Laugh-In has ever been funny. I think Laugh-In has been funny once. I think Laugh-In has one funny joke, and it kills me to say this. It's the one with Richard Nixon.
Oh, no. I don't think we could get Mr. Nixon to stand still for a socket to me.
Sock it to me?
There you have the one funny joke from Laugh-In. George Schlater, the least funny man in comedy. Anyway, I don't know why this turned into a hit piece on Laugh-In. Getting back to what we were talking about, which is gay television of the 1970s, the topic of my upcoming video. In particular, how terrible gay representation was in the late 60s, early 70s, and what happened when basically gay viewers got just so fed up that they, as the saying goes, stopped being polite and started getting real, when they started taking more aggressive action to try to get their concerns heard by the networks that have been ignoring them for years and years and years. So as part of my research for that, and as part of my research into the really radical and exciting disruptive actions that a lot of protesters used in the 1970s, I've been gathering some of the worst gay characters of American television of the 1970s. Now, some of these characters you'll be familiar with from some of my other videos, especially the That Certain summer video that I did about a year ago. But I've been digging up a lot more, a lot of it pretty obscure, and thank you to the folks who've been helping me with this. If you are aware of stuff, please continue to send it my way. It's super, super helpful, even if you just have kind of like clues and hints about where it might be. I'm looking in particular for clips of Johnny Carson telling homophobic jokes. A lot of those seem to be scrubbed from the internet, like the Carson people, understandably, don't want that out in front of people, so it is hard to find. I did find this clip of Bob Hope doing, honestly, a fairly mild homophobic joke. Unfortunately, I only have the audio, but here it is.
First, women's liberation demanded the rights of women, then the hard hats demanded the rights of men, and now gay liberation is demanding the rights of whatever they are. Now we got something else to worry about. Sissy power.
Another little holy grail that I'm looking for in this very weird genre is Jack Parr. So Jack Parr was the host before Johnny Carson, apparently super homophobic, and there is a moment that I've been searching high and low for, and I have not been able to find yet, but let me know if you have any clues. Here's what we know. So apparently, in late 61 or early 62, Jack Parr had some moment on his talk show, which was probably, I can't remember if it was the Tonight Show or the Jack Parr Show at that point, but he had, or Tonight, it wasn't the Tonight Show, it was Tonight with Jack Parr. Anyway, he had this moment where he just turns to the camera and says, the fairies are the ones ruining show business. Now, the context of that is kind of interesting because he had as the guest on that episode, Frank Parker, who was a singer, came out and he sang, he did a song. I don't know what the song was, but Frank Parker came out. And then when the song was over, it went back to Jack Parr and his guest for that episode, who was Abe Burrows. Abe Burrows is Jim Burrows' father. Jimmy Burrows is the director of every episode of Will and Grace and a whole bunch of episodes of Cheers and Friends. And, he's a legend of television. Anyway, so Jimmy Burrows' dad, Abe, was the guest on that episode of the Jack Parr Show. And it comes back from this guy singing a song, and Abe just, he says something nice. He's like, wasn't that great? He did a great job. That was a nice song. And then Jack Parr, out of nowhere, is like, yeah, that's something television could learn from. Get rid of all this fancy stuff that they always do with singers where they have balloons happening and too many colors. You can't get as fancy as that on TV. It's the fairies that are ruining show business. I don't know what set him off really there, but anyway, so that's apparently what happened. It happened sometime around 61 or 62. The only record I can find of it is, of all things, an issue of Confidential magazine, which is itself an incredibly homophobic magazine. But at least they did us the service of documenting what Jack Parr said. Anyway, so I'm looking high and low for that clip, and if you know where I can find it, please let me know. One of the great mysteries here is that, in my research, what I've been able to find is that there are no, that I can find, episodes of Jack Parr or Tonight that had Jack, Abe Burrows, and Frank Parker all appearing together, those three guys. So maybe this episode doesn't exist, maybe it was misremembered, maybe it was misreported by Confidential, but somewhere, that quote is out there somewhere. Now, fortunately, there are a bunch of clips that I have been able to find, often with help from viewers like you. So there is, for example, this galling clip of Jerry Lewis doing a gay cowboy routine. I believe this is from 73 or so. This is from a special called NBC Follies. This is Jerry Lewis doing a gay cowboy thing with Mickey Rooney. And basically the whole joke of the sketch is that they've gone into this cowboy bar. Jerry Lewis's character is super queenie and everybody just beats him up. That's the joke. On the subject of cowboys, there's also this incredible episode of Police Story where our heroes are searching for a serial killer who's targeting gays, and they're looking for clues at a fashion magazine. And I got to show you this one clip because the guy's line is very, very funny.
We are a fashion magazine. I assure you we don't hire cowboys.
So yeah, we don't hire cowboys. Yeah, because if there's one thing that gays hate, it's cowboys. Ugh, they're so macho and manly and masculine. Ugh, gross. I also found Richard Dreyfuss playing a questionably gay, or maybe he was seduced by a gay teenager in this episode of Judd for the Defense. Where Richard Dreyfuss does a really good performance, and he really seems to be going method because it seems like he's kind of improvising or flubbing his lines or something here. But anyway, here's a little clip of him as he's getting berated by the adults who don't want him to be a homosexual.
You people just didn't groove the way we do, that's all.
Oh, how do you groove, you two? What do you see in each other?
We see cool, we live right.
Which means what? Acid? Pot,
And another young actor who went on to great things, Ron Howard, little Ronnie Howard, did an episode of, what show was it? The Bold Ones, where, boy oh boy, and this really gives you a sense of the vibe, the atmosphere of the time. He plays a teenager who finds out that his father is gay, and he is so disgusted that it gives him an ulcer. It's this kid who thinks his gay dad is so gross, he develops an ulcer. Not, of course, how that works, but that was the idea. That was something that was not considered too outrageous at the time. Then, of course, there's the notorious episode of Policewoman starring Angie Dickinson, Flowers of Evil. This one, fortunately, is very obtainable. It's on DVD now. For a long time, it was impossible to find this episode, but it was released on DVD a couple of years ago. Actually, maybe more like 20 years ago now. Jesus, I'm old. Anyway, it was released on DVD eventually, and it's about these lesbians who are killing old people in a retirement home. And there's a moment that seems almost compassionate, seems almost nice to lesbians. And here's where it like tiptoes up to being nice.
She must be very special to you. How long has it been? 10, 12 years? You have nothing to hide from me. I knew it the minute I saw you two together. And I don't condemn you.
So seems real understanding, right? And then this.
I watched what a love like yours can do to a person. I watched her suffering.
Whoops, oh well, they were almost nice to queers. That was a close one. Anyway, one other show from around this time from the 1970s that I want to show you is Hawaii Five-0, which is a three-parter called V for Vashon, which is very hard for me to say because I live in Seattle for now, and we've got Vashon Island here, and I always want to say V for Vashon, but it's V for Vashon. Anyway, the big surprise twist at the end of this episode, and skip ahead a couple minutes if you don't want this episode of Hawaii Five-0 ruined. The big surprise twist is that this lawyer, who the guys have been working with, is actually crooked, and he's got this secret, and they figure out his secret. This guy rats on him because he's this crooked lawyer's ex-lover who is feeling jilted and wants to basically, he turns this gay lawyer in to the cops. And here's the scene where where it's revealed that the cops have this twink, basically.
John, I just got your message. Please don't jump to any conclusions.
So it's a big shock. The lawyer's stunned to see that they've got this guy here. And then when the kid explains, when the trick, I guess, or this boy toy, this young man explains why he's decided to turn on the gay lawyer, here's his explanation.
I got busted selling a couple of joints to a guy. And my dearest friend, the biggest lawyer in Honolulu, wouldn't even answer the phone when I called. You're getting what's coming to you, you old queen.
That accent. Okay, he's literally doing the Californians from Saturday Night Live. Down to, like, the hair, the delivery, everything. Down to when the guy first comes in, when the lawyer first comes in, he has a take that's like, what are you doing here? I mean, it's amazing. Is this what the Californians are based on? This one throwaway line, this one character from an episode of Hawaii Five-0. The similarities are just too apt. Anyway, I love it. I love it so much. As bad and as toxic as it is, I think it is so hilariously campily funny. Anyway, so that's what I've been investigating lately. Keep your eyes peeled for a video that ties all of those very weird things together, coming your way soon. Next week, I'm going to be traveling, so you may get a weird bonus video next week. I'm going to be going to New Haven to do a little bit of research, also visiting my family who's out there. If you've got any recommendations for stuff to do in New Haven, let me know. While I'm there, I'm going to be visiting the Yale Archives because they actually have some pretty interesting holdings there of queer film and television stuff in the rare books and manuscripts. Unfortunately, none of it digitized, so I actually have to go in person to take a look at it. Hopefully, it'll be worth the trip. Anyway, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have some fun stuff to share with you in the next week or two from my visit to Yale. And let me know if there's stuff in New Haven that you recommend. I'm also going to be hitting up New York while I'm doing that trip. There's some folks that I need to meet with and potentially a little bit of research that I'm going to be doing there. We'll see how it goes. So it's going to be a whirlwind tour of the Eastern Seaboard next week. Oh, and one more thing I almost forgot. Thanks to everybody who's been joining us for the special patron-only watch-alongs that we're doing of My So-Called Life over on Discord. We're doing watch parties of that show every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's been a real hoot. We've done 4 episodes so far, and we're just going through the whole series. So come over onto Discord every Thursday night and watch My So-Called Life with us. It's really been a pleasure to hear everybody's insights and to be able to share them on the new podcast. So yay. All right, that'll just about do it. Thanks again so much for all your help. Keep sending me clips. If you know where I can find that Jack Parr stuff, if you know where I can find any Carson being homophobic stuff, please send that my way. And until next time, see you at Fleckman's.
Welcome to Fleckman's Hotel and Day Camp Filter Room.
Excuse me, Miss Fleckman.
Ivan Boski, Vander Fluven, Hooven, Meister Garben, Gerben Fleckman.
That's the louse.
I just love happy endings.
Still whining.
How queer.
This is an outrage.
What?
It's called, oomph.
Are you or are you not? Is he, honey? I don't know.
Oh, my.
Did someone call for General Washington?
That's not wonderful.
Well, he sat on my face again.
So the one-legged jockey said, "Don't worry about me, baby. I ride side saddle."
That I'll take them all.
Very good.
Fill it up.
What?
Tits. You're the imposter. We all know it. Case closed.
That kid gets no tip.
What's the matter, Margaret? Jack Frost nipping at your nose?
Look, why don't we cut out all this subterfuge? I know your angle. I wish I knew yours.
Great job, Maurice. Sorry if the guys in reproduction have been riding your tail.
Well, I'm not.
Excuse me, madam, are you referring to me?
I am not a lesbian.
Yes, and Agnes Moorehead is just a tomboy.
Just keep still.
I'm suspicious, Dad.
Bi? It means bisexual.
He's bisexual?
Learning how to make those pies in homemaking class.
Slow, Madge. Have one with me next time.
That'll be the day.
Yes, dips are first. Yes, you're puckered. Yes, puckered.
Think of Mr. Banks. He was just beginning to get used to you.
You mean that bit of wool on your tit?
You're getting what's coming to you, you old queen.